All right, come on, go, guys.
I'm fake. Okay, now let's remember that the reason for all this, you were trying to remind yourself of the reason. The reason for all this is that Puja made sort of a bad grade on the game that we played the other day, which was testing our knowledge of the Canterbury Tale. And she wanted us all to know that
all of it. I just wanted you to
that she read it, you know, she understood it. She just had a little problem with the questions.
Stage fright.
Stage fright. You weren't there. Anyway,
I get nervous on these spots.
and so she decided to, what shall we say, redeem herself by coming up with a little presentation that it's not going to be long.
No.
With a little presentation.
They're just expecting so much, it's just not so much.
No, see, I'm saying little.
Oh,
A little presentation that will entertain and educate all of us.
Oh, yeah, from you too, yeah, in next semester.
Wait, get out.
Go
We're
create
going to have
a
to make a
right.
decision.
Yeah.
As far as that's
They're reading
spoken.
my book, actually, for creative writing. Yeah.
You were reading our own books yesterday.
Puja, will you go already?
Yes, fine, okay. 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 Well, hello, great class. Look at where we are today. We're on our first stop of our field trip. We're at Westminster Abbey. Now, can someone tell me the importance of this place? Yes, Billy, can you tell me why we're here? Yes, of course, it is exactly what you said. We're here to understand where the great author of the Canterbury Tales, Geoffrey Chaucer, where he was buried. Now, can someone tell me where he was buried? Yes, Bobby. Yes, he's buried over inside Westminster Abbey, where all the other great poets were also buried. Now, he's buried here just because he is one of the great poets of his time, because he was the only one to be able to write English and write such a great piece while everyone else was writing in French. Now, let me share with you one of my favorite tales, not because I can relate to it or anything, but because there's a very valuable lesson to be learned in this. So I am the wife of Bath, and you may be thinking, look at how many men she's been with. But let me explain to you, it's most definitely not a bad thing. As you can see, I'm not a very conventional woman who follows all the rules of the church, but I can tell you that I lived through experience, and after 5 men, I've had a lot of experience. I believe that the main element in a relationship is that the woman should have the control. And, well, that's why all 5 of my husbands died, because after I got control of them, they died. And, well, enough about my personal life. I have a story I want to share with you. So, basically, there's this knight, right? And he goes out and he sees this young maiden. And, of course, if she's alone, he takes advantage of her. Now, King Arthur finds out about this, and he wants to kill him because he committed such a crime. But the queen is thinking, maybe I can give him a chance. So she said, if you can answer this one question, I'll spare you your life. And the question is, what do women most desire? And so he was thinking, and because he's so confused, he can't find the answer. So one day he's in the woods, and he sees this old lady, and she's like, I'm old and I'm wise. I know the answer to your question.
I'm old.
And she says, women most desire to have sovereignty over their husbands. And he says, well, okay, you're old and wise. I'll take you to the queen and see if you're right. And apparently, she is right. And so because of this, she gets any request she asks of the knight. And her request is to marry him. And of course, since she saved his life, he can't say no. And so basically, the relationship depends on their intimacy. And, well, an old hag and a young charming knight don't really go well together. And so she gives him the option. I can be young and beautiful, and be beautiful for you as well as many other men, or I can be young, or I can be old and ugly, but just be loyal to you. And he says, well, you saved my life, and it's your choice. You have sovereignty over me. And she says, well, okay, kiss me. And through that, she turns into a young, beautiful lady who is also still faithful to her husband. Okay, now class, what did we learn from that story? Yes, Dimitri. Yes, you're exactly right. The tale we just heard of is an exemplum, which is a story that is told to tell the point of something. The point of this tale was to exemplify how an old hag represented all of the things against women, and then in the end of the story we see her as a young, beautiful lady to show that even though she had so many problems throughout the relationship, she can still make her man happy. Alright, so the next tale that's very special to me is the partner's tale. First of all, we need to go over what a partner is. Yes, Anastasia, what do you think a partner is? Yes, exactly. A partner is just one who pardons people of their sins. Now let's take a look at that story to understand the meaning of it. Hello, everybody. This is I, the partner, the only one on this pilgrimage who can pardon you of your sins. Think whatever you want to think, but the one rule that's certain is that the love of money is the root of all evil in this world. You see my documents here? They tell me it's true. And this sheep bone here, it will bring you good luck, the best of luck, and bring you so much wealth and cure you of all your jealousy. And this mitten here, it'll bring you even more money. For all of you really bad sinners, there may not be anything I can do. But for those of you who aren't so bad, you can buy these pardons from me, and all of your sins will be released. But for now, I have a story to tell you of 3 drunken men. You see, there were 3 very, very drunk men who were just walking down the road one day, and they see a coffin being carried. And they ask, who's in that coffin? They figure out that it's one of their friends who was killed by Death. And because they're so extremely drunk, they want to go back and kill Death, as if to get revenge for it. And so they see an old man walking down the road, and they ask, where can we find Death? And so he says, down at the end of the road. And so these 3 drunken men go down to the end of the road. Instead of finding Death, they actually find barrels of gold first. And so, of course, being these 3 drunken men, they all want the gold for themselves. So they sit there and wait and wait. And as the time goes on, they become hungry. So they send the littlest one out to go get food for them. And while they're still waiting, they made plans to keep the gold for themselves. And while the littlest one's gone, he's also made plans to keep the gold for himself. The plan is that the 2 men still with the gold will just kill him when he comes back. And the little one has thought, I'll buy these drinks, and they'll drink it, and they'll die. So time goes on, and he comes back, and obviously he's been killed. And so the 2 men with the gold try to celebrate, and they drink these drinks, which happens to be their last drink because it's full of poison. So now, does everyone see the sin in this story? I have pardons, and you should buy them from me, because that's the only way you can be released from your sins. So, Dimitri, what did you learn from this story? Yes, that is a very good point. The partner is a very complex character. In the beginning, he says that the love of money is the root of all evil. However, throughout his entire tale, he tries to sell us these pardons as if he wants to get the money as well. What we can learn from this story is that the love of money is the root of all evil, because as those 3 drunken men went towards the gold, they also went closer to their death. And so this is the last stop on our field trip. I hope everyone learned 2 very valuable lessons today, and maybe next time we can have another field trip. Thank you.